The guy shouldn't have been on the set, the director was in the wrong, acted irresponsibly, and he should have known better. Olivia Munn is not the bad guy. Yeah, I know these are usually jokes, but not this time. Just think, if only writer-director and self-contained throwback reference to the first movie, yeah, how about that? Shane Black hadn't pulled some dumb bullshit on the casting side that ended up, not without justification, overwhelming the news cycle on this movie. We could have instead been treated to the spectacle of him being crucified as an SJW traitor by the fanboy set once they found out he'd gone and turned The Predator into a relentlessly postmodern self-satire that goofs on the franchise's prior attempts to take itself even remotely seriously, save for some earnestly heavy-handed gestures to autism acceptance and endangered species preservation. It sounds like I'm joking about that, but I'm not. Nor the fact that that's literally the only thing The Predator is not joking about. The film is, putting it mildly, a near-complete mess of a thing, where it very much feels like Black either bit off or was made to take on more than he could chew before Fox very clearly decided the finished product was too bizarre and tried to chop it down to a bare minimum 95-minute runtime to make their money back in extra shows. I'm not exactly sure what makes less sense, though, to be honest. Hiring the director of Iron Man 3 for a franchise sci-fi sequel, and then being surprised when he once again hands in a snarky, confrontational dialogue-based action comedy that deconstructs the chintzier parts of the property while doing good versions of studio note bad idea tropes like cute kids, animal sidekicks, and socially redeeming message mongering for kicks, just like he did there, or not wanting it once he does when Iron Man 3 made $1.2 billion worldwide. So still, even if it feels like the film had a bit more substance in whatever Black's original cut looked like before the well-publicized extensive reshoots and cuts, I have a hard time imagining a scenario that wasn't too much movie being in this movie. Whereas the original Predator got by on one of the most famously stripped-down story pitches in the high-concept 80s, basically a slasher movie but with big, buff, heavily armed badass guys instead of dumb teenagers, and thus the otherworldly killing machine instead of Jason or whatever. The Predator features dozens of characters, multiple side plots, multiple converging teams, each with their own agendas, 3 separate cover-up conspiracy narratives, a sequel setup, again, all crammed into barely over an hour and a half by editing with the subtle grace of a weed whacker. It's not even a joke to say that there's several movies worth of stuff in here. It sincerely feels like they had 5 or 6 fully formed ideas for possible Predator sequels and decided to use them all. Predator versus Suburban Family on Halloween, the first one again, but with present-day, mentally ill, PTSD-afflicted vets instead of Black Ops guys, Lady Scientist versus government trying to cover up predators, further exploration of the big super predator concept from the last attempt at a reboot. Hey, what if some of the predators have different opinions about whether it's right to hunt humans from the other ones? I mean, those could all be their own movie, but instead they're all this movie, which technically follows Boyd Holbrook as a sniper who has a run-in with a classic-style predator and gets grabbed up along with it by government alien cover-up guys, but not before he can hide some predator armor evidence with his estranged wife and bullied autistic son, who, yes, manages to decode and activate the technology in predator language, inadvertently drawing the attention of one of the big Hulk-sized super predators from the last movie and his hunting hound companion pets, who are apparently enemies of the other one for reasons that are a twist in our big lead-in for the sequel that now feels a bit optimistic. Assembling a team of supposedly crazy veterans from the institution where he's being held, Holbrook teams with Olivia Munn's alien researcher to rescue his family and navigate the battle between both predators through an awkwardly structured and exhaustingly paced 6.5-act structure that results from attempting to expand the franchise mythology as to why the predators hunt things in the first place, while also setting up the cool new thing for future movies. And let it not be said that all of this throwing ideas randomly against the wall doesn't eventually yield a certain amount of winners. There's good action beats, both of the predators and even the ever-conceptually silly predator dogs look fantastic, it's agreeably bloody and gory, the retro-flavored score is nice, and whatever else you can say about Shane Black, he is undeniably the best in the business at making a hodgepodge cast of offbeat character actors, C-listers, and bit players, and turning shaggy sequences of them hanging out exchanging schoolboy insults into something. And yes, while you can kinda see what they're building to really early on once they start floating the idea that the predators have a scientific obsession with evolutionary superiority, and you consider, oh wow, I wonder if all these characters on the spectrum are having psychological conditions that are misunderstood, will come up in some kind of what makes a trait superior in the first place really way. Okay, yeah, but hey, points for effort. Even still, well-intentioned in theory and so ridiculously overstuffed it's hard not to have fun with it aren't exactly the same thing as being a good movie. So 2 stars. I genuinely do want to see or at least hear about what the hell this looked like before Fox got done with it, but for now, it is what it is.